What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, there wasn't anything really major going on in the news today as far as political or whatever. But I do want to talk to you about a particular movie that I just got done watching. They're making a sequel to it. It's fixing to come out here pretty soon. The first one was done like a year or so ago. It's a Netflix original and it's called The Hitman's Bodyguard. It starred Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. I never did get around to watching it. I don't know, I just didn't feel like watching it. But I saw the trailer to the sequel. I thought, well, maybe the first one was pretty decent. I mean, it does have Ryan Reynolds in it. And I can tell you this much. Ryan Reynolds pretty much carries the whole movie. I used to be a somewhat fan of Samuel L. Jackson. But then I found out he's pretty much like all the other leftist racist bastards in fucking Hollywood. So I really don't care for him anymore. He's shown his true colors. He claimed he was going to leave the United States, but he's still here. So he can go fuck himself. Now, as far as the movie goes, you know, it's basically, you know, Ryan Reynolds is down on his luck. He's like, was this top agent for Interpol or whatever, protecting people. He kind of loses that job and kind of goes freelancing pretty much. His girlfriend leaves him because he won't let it go. She climbs the Interpol ladder after he's gone. Now, Samuel L. Jackson plays a hitman, and he's part of the reason why fucking Ryan Reynolds is the way he is. Anyways, this main story is they're trying to get, Interpol wants to get Samuel L. Jackson to testify against a dictator of a particular country who's really sadistic and kills people, like kind of like Stalin did, but not near as what Stalin did. Anyways, there's an inside leak. The caravan that was taking Samuel L. Jackson where he's supposed to go, it gets hit, and Ryan Reynolds' girlfriend's the only one left out of all the Interpol agents. She ends up going with the hitman, and they go to a safe house, and she then calls up Ryan Reynolds and asks him to, you know, keep an eye on Samuel L. Jackson while she does some work with Interpol to find out who the leak is. At the same time, they're having a trial for this dictator that he's supposed to testify. He's supposed to be there at a certain time. So the dictator, he's pretty much hired some guys to try to take out Samuel L. Jackson. Of course, Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson gets into scuffles with these guys several times. before he finally shows up to the trial and all ends well that ends well, blah blah blah. Was it a good movie? Yeah, I thought it was a decent movie. It wasn't bad. It had some funny parts, a pretty good. There was a few scenes that were just particularly hilarious. The part where he gets in the van with all the nuns, that was hilarious. You know, there's a couple other scenes, but that was the best one. Now, yeah, it's a pretty good standard action flick. It's not bad. If you like action and comedy, it's a pretty good movie. And of course, I'm always down for checking out some Salma Hayek. I mean, that woman is just drop dead gorgeous. But anyways, this is a good movie. Go ahead and check it out. I give it 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend it. It's pretty good. I'm hoping the sequel is going to be as good, if not better. But you know how sequels go. Most sequels tend to fail in that department. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's get on to your B-movie review. What's up, Movieholics? This week is Sci-Fi Week. First one, it's kind of a cheesy, you know, it's pretty cheesy, but it's still fun to watch. It was done in 1996, and it's called Space Truckers. This starred Dennis Hopper, Stephen Dorff, and Debbie Mazar, which, whew, that woman was fucking hot back then. God, she was hot. But anyways, when I picture an Italian woman or someone of that particular descent, you know, that's you know, I would hope she looked similar to her. She just, man, she's a good looking woman. But anyways, the movie, basically the story is you have some scientist that works for a particular big corporation or company that has developed some super soldiers to conquer places. The original idea was to conquer Earth, but that didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. Dennis Hopper and Stephen Dorff, they decide that they're not going to be company men. In other words, working for a particular company and doing shipments for a particular company. They decide that they're going to do their own hauls. At first they don't get along, but then they do. They decide to take on a haul that's would bring them a lot of money, but it's all hush hush, kind of like a trucker's underground type of place or whatever is what it was. They decide to take on this haul. Come to find out, it's highly protected or guarded. They can't get into it to find out exactly what it is, because they do try. But it has like some security system on it. there are gangs of pirates, of course, you know, and there's a particular gang that ends up capturing their vessel and their load. Come to find out, it was the scientist who used to work for the big corporation. You think he's dead, but apparently he didn't quite die, and he like rebuilt himself with all his cybertronics crap. So gave himself like a cyber, you know, he's like a cyborg now. I don't know, it was really weird. It was kind of cheesy the way they did him, that character. Anyways, he figures a way to open up the batch. He comes to find out it's the super soldiers that he created. They get loose. They wipe out the entire pirates crew and the ship. However, the hull is stuck to the trucker's truck, space truck or whatever, and it's still heading for Earth. Dennis Hopper and the other two, they come up with a plan to try to get the hull off and blow it up. Stephen Dorff and Debbie Mazar, they jump in an escape pod and get to Earth, and then Dennis Hopper goes and tries to blow up the ship or whatever. He ends up finally doing it and then landing on Earth with them. That's pretty much just about the entire story. They do meet the president at the end. Come to find out, it's the president of the big corporation that wanted to take over Earth anyway. It seemed he got elected to be president of Earth, so he really didn't need them anymore, the super soldiers. He tries to kill them, but they end up accidentally killing him instead. And so, like I said, everything ends well as well as it should be. Yes, it was a bit cheesy, some of the stuff in it. The acting was decent. I give it a solid 3. Story-wise, the story was okay. Wasn't bad. Wasn't that great either. I'll give it a 3 just because it was okay. Wasn't bad. Special effects was pretty cheesy, but still watchable, you know. So again, I'll give it another 3 for special effects, and this is a scale of 1 through 5. As far as the overall everything, the movie, I give it again, it's a 3. It's cheesy, but it's still fun to watch. You know, it's decent enough. So yeah, you know, would I recommend it? Yeah, why not? It was a fun movie. It's something to enjoy and watch. You know, I give it 2 thumbs up. It was pretty good. It was decent. Moving on. The next one I'm going to talk about is called Wing Commander, and it was done in '99. There was actually a box office number with this one where there wasn't with Space Truckers. It made about 11 million worldwide. It didn't really do that great. It did okay. It's based off a video game. I never played the video game series, so I wouldn't know anything really about the video game. I've seen other particular reviews on this. Apparently it didn't really quite follow entirely the video game anyway. So it's kind of like its own rendition of the video game, which is kind of strange, but okay, whatever. Now the aliens in this, they looked pretty cheesy. I think they could have done way better. The aliens were pretty bad. They weren't really that great looking in this movie. This starred Freddie Prinze Jr., which I really don't care for. He's not a good actor at all. He's pretty bad. Matthew Lillard, though, on the other hand, he's an excellent actor, and he carried this movie. And then you have Stephen Burrows. She played their commanding officer. She was all right. In fact, most of the other actors were fairly decent. It was just Freddie Prinze Jr. just cannot act. I'm sorry if you're a fan of his, but he sucks. He's terrible. Anyways, the story is that you have this group of people called pilgrims. When they first started space exploring, they were able to do these hyper jumps through space by calculating a set of coordinates through space to make a space jump, kind of like a hyper space jump. But they didn't have to have what they're calling a navcom, which is the computer, to do it for them. They could do it faster. And there's certain areas of the galaxy you need to be able to do that because the computer can't keep up fast enough to make the jump. Apparently you constantly got to input the correct coordinates because it's constantly changing every time they get ready to make a jump. Anyways, these pilgrims, there was a war between the so-called Federation, I think they called them maybe it's the Confederation, I don't remember. But the Federation and there was a war between them and the Pilgrims because the Pilgrims got arrogant and they thought they controlled everything because they had the ability to make these jumps through space and navigate hundreds of places in the galaxy, chart them, discover them, that kind of thing. They were like explorers. But anyways, they got in a big fight or war or whatever, and they nearly killed all the pilgrims. And they were called pilgrims because there were only certain ones that could actually have this gift. Not everyone, not every human had that gift. But anyways, the whole movie is basically about this mission that they're going on to deliver a set of coordinates to an admiral that's waiting near Earth with a fleet because they're trying to figure out when this alien race called the Kalari or something like that, Kalathi or something like that. Anyway, this alien race got a hold of some advanced technology that navigates areas of space, and it had a set of coordinates in there for Earth. So they're waiting for them to, bring a huge fleet to Earth, and the admiral's trying to figure out where they're going to enter space or make the jump, which part of the solar system. So he's waiting on Earth, and he gives them a mission, Freddie Prinze Jr., and to find out where these set of coordinates are going to be, so they can surprise attack them. They figure it out. There's a bunch of action sequences before that You know, mainly space flight, you know, space battle scenes. But all in all, you know, Freddie Prinze Jr., he gets the coordinates to the Admiral, and most of the people survive the attacks, and they save the Earth by stopping the Calathi fleet, or whatever the hell they're called, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. I mean, it was okay, I guess. You had some decent action scenes in there, space battle scenes. But other than that, that's all about it did for me. I mean, most of the rest of the story, okay. I mean, they didn't have like any ground attacks or anything. It was all space stuff, which is okay to a point, but you gotta add a little more than just one little solo mission, because that's basically what it was. It's one little solo mission, so it's kind of boring in parts. Acting wise, again, most of the other actors were decent. It was just Freddie Prinze Jr. sucks ass. He can't act worth a crap. So I'm going to give the acting a -3 because of that. The rest of them were alright. As far as special effects, the special effects were actually pretty decent. I'll give them a 3+ because they looked pretty good. The special effects, it was pretty good. Except again for the Calathi or whatever the fuck they're called, the alien race. They suck. They were terrible. They could have done them way better, but they looked really cheesy. You definitely tell they were puppets. As far as the story goes, you know, I give this a -3, just because you had it was just basically a mission to bring a message to the Admiral. It wasn't, the story kind of sucked. I didn't care for the story all that much. I was more interested in what happened before with the Pilgrims than I was this one. So, you know, it is what it is. I only recommend this movie if you're a hardcore sci-fi fan. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Overall, you know, the movie gets a -3 for me. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that good either. Or, I mean, it wasn't that great, but it wasn't that bad either. It was just, okay. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in next week. I'll have a couple horror flicks to review for you, including a new one that I just watched called Army of the Dead. That'll be on next week's video. If you have any thoughts about what I said earlier about Hitman's Bodyguard, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you have any suggestions, or you might know some underrated movies that you think I might not have ever heard of, and you would like me to review them, please leave your suggestions down in the comments down below. I'm always looking for suggestions of some good underrated B movies, you know, always. So please leave them down, the suggestions down below, or your suggestions down in the comments below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. That's all I have for you. Till next time, I told you to be told the truth, and you've just been told.